Most of us have a sweet tooth. But how does sugar affect our health?
Sugar is probably the leading cause of the obesity crisis that's happening in this country at the moment, which is costing the NHS probably about £6 to £8 billion a year just in treating obesity-related diseases.
Health experts say that introducing a sugar tax in the UK could help to curb poor health and rising obesity. The sugar tax is a 20% tax on any soft drinks that have added sugar. This would add 7p to the price of a can of fizzy drink, generating £7 billion per year. Over a quarter of the British population are obese. The British Medical Association says that at the rate we're going, by 2050 over half of the population will be obese. And this problem appears to be most prevalent amongst children, where obesity is higher than ever. So why tax fizzy drinks?
A third of children, the ages of 10 to 11, are either obese or overweight, and about 30% of their sugar intake is from fizzy drinks.
We all know that there's a lot of sugar in Coke, but do we realise just how much? In this can alone, there are almost 9 teaspoons of sugar. It's not just Coke. This energy drink contains 14 spoonfuls of sugar. Even the so-called healthier options holds 8 teaspoons. Last year, the Parliamentary Health Committee recommended a sugar tax as an anti-obesity strategy. The government rejected this, stating it has
no plans to introduce a tax on sugar-sweetened beverages.
Conservative MP Helen Whately is on the Health Committee.
One of the things that we know is that children get a lot of their sugar and quite a lot of their calories from sugary drinks. So the Health Select Committee said one of the things that should be done would be to introduce a sugar tax. Not the only thing, there'll be a whole package of things that needed to be done to counter childhood obesity. The Health Select Committee said that any money raised from this tax should be spent back on health interventions. You asked me why the government doesn't want to introduce a sugar tax. I think that Conservatives tend to be wary about anything that would look like a nanny state and look like government getting involved in people's own private lives and own decisions. And that's always a dilemma to weigh up how much do you intervene versus try not to be a nanny state. The view that the Health Select Committee took and my view is it's such a big problem that this is something where we do need to intervene.
But many health experts still think that the government should reconsider.
Is important because it is something which is going to be effective, and I think that likely it'll decrease the consumption of sugar, which is important.
Those opposed to the sugar tax say that it would be a tax on the poorest and most vulnerable in our society. Dr. John Wass disagrees.
People who have of a lower socio-economic group have a much higher prevalence of obesity. That's the first thing that's really important. And you're not going to harm them because I think you're going to improve their health. And I think that's really important, that you're going to improve the health of people who have a higher prevalence of obesity. For example, in Mexico and in France and in other countries, it has been introduced. It causes a decrease in the amount of sugar consumed and actually is healthy to the population. And I'm afraid that people respond to laws better, and therefore their health will improve, which is our key objective.
The Food and Drink Federation represent many UK drink corporations, including Coca-Cola, Lucozade and Ribena.
So we don't think a sugar tax would work, and we don't think that it's the most effective way to try and tackle obesity, because first of all we don't think it's right just to focus on sugar. A single nutrient isn't a cause of obesity.
And do you think your opposition to the tax, or the FGF's opposition to the tax, has anything to do with the fact that it could negatively affect sales of soft drinks?
Well, of course, an imposition of a tax would by its nature make products more expensive, and that's liable to reduce sales, and that's not a good thing for an industry sector which employs 400,000 people in this country, contributes £20 billion to the economy. I don't think we should very lightly be imposing those kind of burdens on a very successful manufacturing sector.
Obesity is a multifactual problem.
You need to be more active. So it's what you eat and it's activity levels as well. And that will help to reduce obesity. But you've got to educate people. That's the children, the parents and the schools.
Could the sugar tax help?
Well, the sugar tax is one aspect of what you're trying to do. You're trying to get people to eat good food. And unfortunately, the food industry has produced food, in some cases, which is not good. And sugar, there's too much sugar in some food, so a sugar tax could be a way of making the food industry think about how much sugar they put into food.
It's clear that the sugar tax alone cannot solve the complex issue of obesity, but most experts agree that it is a step in the right direction. If the sugar tax can raise awareness of the dangers of sugar and be used in partnership with other anti-obesity measures, perhaps it's something that the government should reconsider. Or are they simply too concerned with avoiding the nanny state?